Hello people, I'm the Old Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about Shattered Empire, which is the comic book that takes place right after the Battle of Endor, and then it goes a little bit past that to just show you what happened. And so yeah, I thought this would be pretty cool to do on Battlefront Sundays to talk about this, because I am going to get a bit more into the expanded universe. Mainly, you know, the actual canon expanded universe, but I'll probably go back and talk about some of the stuff happened prior to that. But, yeah, so let's talk about Shattered Empire. Shattered Empire is, well, first off, obviously spoilers. If you guys want to read the comic book or anything, I will be spoiling it. And, anyways, let's get into it. So, this book is about Shara Bey, who is Poe Dameron's mother, and she is a very skilled pilot in the Rebel Alliance. Her husband is Kes Dameron, who is a part of Pathfinders, which is Han Solo's strike team. Their whole job, well, they're the first in and the last out. They're like the elite team and everything. And their job after the Empire was destroyed was to basically take out the dregs of the Empire. So the day after the Battle of Endor, they get this message that there's this Imperial base that's holding out on the other side of the moon of Endor. So they fly over there. Well, first they need a pilot, and so of course they get Shara to fly them over there because she volunteers. Fly over there, they get some data, they take down that Imperial base. Also, the art in this book is amazing. I love it. It's primarily by one artist who I can't pronounce his last name, but he does a great job. It's Marco Scheto. I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But anyways, he does the majority of the art, and he's great at it. There are some parts where someone else does the art, but he does most of it, and it all looks amazing. Greg Rucka is the writer. Sorry, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but anyways. So yeah, back to the story. So all that happens. We see that they're cleaning up what's happening at the end of the Empire, and then we we switch to this Imperial Star Destroyer, and this guy dressed up in all red comes up and is like, he's like, I'm a messenger, and you have permission to get this message from the Emperor. So the Emperor appears on this guy's face and just says, Operation Cinder is like effective now. And then someone's like, you got that message from the Emperor himself. I heard he was dead. And the guy's like, don't spread rebel propaganda, otherwise, you know, you might get killed or something. It's like, okay, I like how the fact that saying the Emperor is dead is considered rebel propaganda. I thought that was cool to hear that. But anyways, we see that Shara gets assigned to be Leia's pilot because her commander's like, you know, you got a son and a husband, you haven't seen him very much, I'm going to assign you to some light duty. So her commander assigns her to be Leia's pilot. Leia is flying out to meet the Queen of Naboo, obviously on Naboo. So Shara flies her out there. On the way out there, we get a sort of interesting character moment with Leia, which I really like, is we find out that whenever there's a casualty, you know, in the Rebel Alliance, they have to notify the next of kin that that person's dead and everything. And we see that Leia's talking about how the general always just uses a droid to do it, but she handwrites everyone. And I thought that was cool. It was just a nice little character moment with Leia that I liked seeing, and I thought it was a smart idea by Greg Rucka to add that in. But anyways, they go to Naboo. We find when they're on Naboo, we see that this big storm happens, and all these Imperial destroyers come out. Well, not Imperial destroyers, Star Destroyers come out, and we see that the Emperor's message was to scour Naboo, which makes sense because that was the Emperor. Well, that was Palpatine's home planet, so it makes sense that in his plans for when he's dead, you know, was to scour Naboo. I like that. I thought that was interesting how they did that. And so yeah, they do that. We see Han's strike team is busy cleaning up the dregs of the Empire, and you know, because that's their job. So they're on this other planet, they're doing that, they're taking them out. It all looks great. We see Chewie take out some stormtroopers and stuff, and they get in there. 3PO hacks some computers, and he finds out that they are going to attack Naboo, and so they make their way over to Naboo. But in the meantime, the Queen of Naboo, Princess Leia, and Shara all take up some Naboo fighters up there to the Star Destroyers, and they're taking out a bunch of TIE fighters, but it doesn't look good for them. Really looks like they're gonna die. And then out of nowhere comes Lando and all of them, because they got the message of the fact that they were going to go and attack Naboo when they hacked the computer. So that's the end of that whole thing, that whole little story arc. We see that they take out a bunch of the Empire, and it's pretty cool. Now we get sort of the last issue, which is a separation from the rest of the story. It's still about Shara, but it's a separation from it, and we get to see Luke, which is so cool. But it opens up with, we see that Shara is just there at the base, and then R2 comes to her, and she's like, "What? What are you saying?" R2 starts running away from her. She follows R2, and she sees Luke. Luke sent R2 to go and get the nearest pilot because he said these Lambda class shuttles are much easier to fly with a co-pilot, especially in hyperspace. And so he's like, I just got this quick in and out mission on Vatine, so he needed a co-pilot to help him there. He goes there. Their plan is to have her dress up in this Imperial outfit as this woman who's this special officer. They got her clearance during the Battle of Naboo, not Battle of Naboo, during the Battle of Endor. So they try to sneak in there, and when they're doing all that, they get, well, they go straight in. They're like, oh, so you're this commander, but then they find out that she's not actually the commander. They find out who they are, and we see that the reason they're there is because there are these two branches that are the last of the tree that grew in the heart of the Coruscant, of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. So that's why Luke wants them. Anyways, looks like they're in a bad way, but then Luke just goes ham and starts taking out tons of stormtroopers. It looks so cool. Shara's job is to just take both the branches because they are very fragile. They can't hit the ground. So she takes them while Luke takes out a bunch of stormtroopers, and that's awesome. And then Luke's like, I didn't know there were two of them. I knew there was one, but obviously one is spoken for. I'm taking it. But if you want one, you should take it if you're going to settle down, because she had talked about leaving the Rebel Alliance because she has a husband and a son that she doesn't get to see that much. And so they do. We see that in the end, her and her husband settle down on Yavin, and so they live there, and they got the Force tree with them. So yeah, that's the end of it. It's just, I thought, a cool storyline to cover on Battlefront Sundays. If you guys have read the book, please let me know what you thought of it. I really love it. The art is just amazing. I thought Charbet was a cool character, and yeah, just the art was so good. That's what really made me love this book, was how amazing the art was. The writing's great as well, but the art, just when you look at it, it's to me the best in any of the Star Wars books. All the Star Wars books have good art, but this one is just amazing. Greg Rucka does a great job with the story and the characters. I really liked it, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like.